Okay, we are going to move into, so she touched on stories, and how many of you in here have never posted to your story before on Instagram? Okay, a lot of you, and we kind of assumed that, but as she mentioned, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the day, remember the beginning of the day when I first started talking to you? You've had a lot of information since then. Stories is where a lot of things are headed. So we wanted to be able to give you time today to practice, to literally log in and not do any damage, but to actually get in the app while we're here to assist you. But I've got a few slides to follow up on what Meredith had to say, which is why stories matter. So look at this stat, which shows how many people are consuming these. I mentioned at the beginning of the day, I was not in on stories initially. There was no way I was going to create content that would disappear in 24 hours. But what we have to look at is how are consumers using the app. And like she said, less and less people are looking at the feed. More and more people are flipping through stories. So we need to be where the consumers are, which is why we're paying attention. I am a fan of the highlights that Meredith mentioned, archiving some of your best stories, and I'm going to take you a little deeper into that. So your Instagram story should complement, not replace your Instagram feed. But what I think Meredith said extremely well is, don't just take a picture from today and plop it on your feed. You want to really plan that out about how you want your business to be represented, and that scheduling app that she shared with you is exactly how we do it. We do not do it one post at a time. I literally spend 2 hours at a time on my Instagram and plan posts for 2 to 3 weeks because I'm in the mode to kind of create a design. One of the things I love about her feed is the aesthetic of it. If you're doing them one-off on different days and different mindsets, it looks a mess, right? So you want to really use some of these apps to make it look consistent. Stories is a little bit of a different philosophy. So what is the story? So she kind of showed you the stories are at the top, okay? So they're at the top of the feed there, and they're what's going by. There's Jenny. See, Jenny's posting to her stories. And the cool thing about it is, you know, not all businesses are using it yet. So I always like to get on that piece of real estate where everybody's not using it, at least locally. Like she said, a lot of big brands have been using it for a while. But anytime I can get in front of people, and that's where they're at, that's where I want to be, okay? So that's why we want to pay attention to this. You can post pictures. Like I said, we're going to show you how to do this so that you can do it for yourself. So the first thing you got to realize is even how to get to stories. A lot of people don't know how to get there, so that's why we want you to do that with us today. But the first thing you got to do is even get your settings straight. So this is something that I want you to do today. Or not even today, but in the near future, is she mentioned that you can share, or I'm sorry, you can save some of your Instagram stories to your highlights. You have to turn Save to Archive on in order to do that. It defaults to be off. So if you don't have this on, your stories will disappear. So make sure you get so that these, and you can also do a setting that saves them to your camera roll. So I'm a big proponent of saving your Instagram story and then posting on your Facebook story. Because again, Facebook stories, not a lot of people are using that. So lots of ways to add it, but just make sure your settings, first and foremost, are there. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so see this gear? Everybody swipe right. Swipe right. That's how you get to your stories. Did everybody get there? Oh, okay, sorry. Go to home first. Go to your little home in the left-hand corner. That's the home, and now swipe left. Swipe left, swipe right. Which way? All right, wait a minute. I know I have a picture of this. Okay, everybody, we're not to the interactive part yet, okay? I swear to goodness, I knew this was going to be rough. These two ladies are going to help me. Okay, put your phones down. Put your phones down. Oh, my gosh. Okay. All right, everybody put your phones down. I'm going to take you through a few slides, and then we're going to get there. I'm pretty sure I have a slide in here. But I just wanted you to get your settings, but I now see the fault in my ways. You can share directly from Instagram to Facebook. I was talking to Jason earlier. The settings, getting it aligned can be a pain in the butt because I have a personal Instagram and I have a business Instagram, and getting them synced up can be a little bit of a pain. It is an option. I'm not going to go through it today, but I've included a YouTube video for how to do that. It can be a time saver, but if you have both a personal and a business, it can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to get them linked up. But this is an example of my personal account where I took a picture of my son, and see how in the corner here I can post this to both Instagram and Facebook stories at the same time. So kind of a cool thing if you can get them synced up. If you don't, you can always just save it to your camera roll, which is what this thing is here at the top, okay? Facebook stories, I just wanted to show you briefly. Like I said, they also have stories on Facebook, and it is something that's important. Very similar, growing in popularity, fits the disappearing content rule that we talked about earlier. Not many people are using it, so you stand out in the feed if you are doing it. Same thing on those settings. Make sure your story archive is turned on. Okay, so get these settings down. Like I said, you're going to get this PowerPoint so you can dive in and make sure you know where to find that. But I've done screen captures here to show you how to access it. Biggest thing about stories. When Meredith mentioned earlier she didn't know if we could get stats on highlights, the stats on Instagram are short term. Some are, 14 days. So if you want insights on your stories, you got to really be on it, even on some of your Instagram stuff. So we use a program called Sprout Social that I'm going to show you later. We pay, I think it's $100 a month. So it's not cheap, but it can give you statistics for a longer period of time. But Instagram's disappearing content, it has disappearing stats too. So if you're going to look at your insights, you need to check it a little bit more frequently. Okay, so we have 6 tips, and then we're going to dive into letting y'all go at it. So Meredith was talking about having a professional, kind of do it for you. I know a lot of you are not going to be able to do that, so I want to share a couple tools that you can do this yourself. My very favorite is Canva. Anybody a Canva user? Preaching to the choir. Look, even Jennings. But this is a great example of just brand consistency. Amy Landino, who is a social media person, you can see how everything that she does has the same color palette. What I love about Canva is if you do the paid version, I'm sure a lot of you might be doing the free version, you can actually store your branding. And you see how this has brand colors, and you can even have a couple palettes. You can have fonts. I definitely recommend using consistent fonts in your posts on stories, and even some of your logos. So Canva, to be able to have a color palette that you stick with, is really important. The other thing about Canva is they have actual size, pre-sized images. So this is across all platforms. If you want to do an Instagram story, here's a perfectly sized one, and you don't have to worry about it, because a lot of the times it does look sloppy if you're posting something that's missized on any of these platforms. And these are Instagram story ones, and I love starting with these and then customizing them with my branding and kind of going from there. So highlights. This is a great example of a before and after with highlights. This is where you take something from your story and you put it down here. Meredith showed you an example of hers. She mentioned sometimes you'll see them with icons. The icons kind of make it look cool. It makes it look like you have it kind of together. With the gem, we had just photos, and we decided let's make some graphics. We made these in Canva. These icons were free icons in Canva. We chose ones that had similar coloring, the blacks, the reds, but it just looks really nice. And they're just Instagram stories that we wanted to save so that if somebody's learning more about you, they can click on those. I call this like your homepage. I heard somebody say Instagram is like your digital magazine, and this is your cover. So when people hear you, and you can see how we changed their bio recently, like even just the category that they had was landmark and historical place. It is a landmark and a historical place, but if people are searching on Instagram, they want to find a movie theater. So just that change, make sure you get the right category. And you can see how we made this a lot more fun. We added little emojis of popcorn and drinks for concessions. We want people to know the price right away. What differentiates this theater is recent releases, $5 movies, concessions less than $2. Now, you have a character limit here, but we were really creative with how we did that bio, okay? And then lastly, there's a program called Linktree, where she was mentioning you can only have one link on Instagram. Linktree is a great plugin that you can go to, and it's like a web page of other links. So you can have multiple links that you don't have to be changing all the time. So I'm going to show you that at the end of the day when we talk about the apps we use. Pulling in a little bit of branding into your highlights here, you can see how we did that with just some of the Y colors. And it just adds a little bit. I think it is a little bit more impressive, but we did all that through Canva. So stickers. How many people participate in story stickers, polls? This goes back to the morning of Go Deep with folks. People love to engage with these things. So the GIFs are great, and they're fun and playful, but this is what I'm more interested in, because I can actually see exactly who voted, and then I can communicate with them. So really excited about those. When you create a poll, you actually click on the sticker icon, and you can come over here and get that. And then you can customize the question and the answers. So you can see how I was in the sand trap again, and I changed the question to, do you think I can get out of the bunker? Of course, Golf Ninja, and no way, Jose. So something besides just a yes and a no, making it a little bit more fun, a little bit more playful, because this is a story. And then we can drag it, and like I said, you're going to have an opportunity to do all these different things. But why do I love this as a marketer? Because look what I can see. Who voted, how they voted, and does everybody know what this little icon's for? Direct messaging. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go deep, right, with these people, and I'm going to say, thank you so much for voting in my poll. You know, and it can, and a lot of the times, like we started doing this with the gem and thanked them, and they said, we're so happy, we love supporting the gem. It opened up a dialogue for them to like get excited about us, but they loved hearing from a brand. So just by adding that sticker, I identified about 50 people that I could talk to and have a touch with. So love, love, love some of those stickers that you can actually engage with. So this is an example of somebody who voted. I love coming to the gym. Best value in popcorn I've ever had. So she's becoming that brand loyal person just because we connected with her through Instagram stories. So these are examples of other engagement stickers where you can actually see who responded. There's the excitement bar that you can drag across. There's the question one, and then there is the countdown. So you can actually use this as like an event and use as a countdown sticker. Any questions about those? Are y'all familiar with those? Are those new to you? Okay. I know Instagram stories is very new to some of you. Yes. There is no way to group send them, but what I decided to do is I created kind of a response for the yes and a response for the no. They don't know that it was exactly the same, but I did try to make it somewhat personalized. Do you know what I'm saying? But so yes, it does take a little more time, but again, I spent time with 50 fans. Imagine if all 50 of those people come to the movies this weekend, or you know what I mean? And so it's over time. Now, I will tell you, the gym does not have a huge budget for their marketing, so we only do this on the opening weekend of a movie. And that's how you build a marketing strategy, okay? What can I actually manage? But I want you to understand what tools make the most sense. This makes sense because it's not just a cute graphic that somebody saw. It's a way that I can actually, communicate with some folks. Opportunities to do contests through here. Lots of things that you could creatively do with this. But what I want you to take away from today is the why use this over something else, okay? Hashtag stickers. So you'll see on that post we also had hashtag Disney. That's an actual sticker. And the thing about this, I like location stickers. There was location hashtags, and then there was even event hashtags. And they kind of group things together. And if you can follow hashtags on Instagram. Does anybody follow hashtags? So like I follow hashtag shelfie because I like seeing bookshelves with lots of books. I don't know why. But I'll see that in I know, I'm a nerd, I know. Okay, but sometimes some weird things get hashtag shelfie too, I will tell you. But they will show up in your stories feed as well. So if you happen to use a hashtag that was getting engaged with, it can hop into that hashtag, and if people are following it, you can get discovered even if people aren't following you. So a good thing to do is to make sure you get a hashtag somewhere on there. So something like hashtag Disney, that's probably a hashtag a lot of people follow. But I like the Concord one. Like Lindsay's photos have at many times gone into the Concord NC hashtag, which gives her great exposure for her photography business for folks who are following that. Like I said, this is just an example of hashtags that you can follow. The other cool thing about it, like I said, at the conference I was just at, if you use a hashtag, they were re-sharing these user-generated content. So the Instagram expert, Sue B, actually shared a video that I did of her, and she has 77,000 followers. I do not, but she does. But because I tagged the event, she saw that. I also mentioned her, and she re-shared that. So. Another thing people are doing as a strategy is using stories to promote a new feed post. Have y'all seen that? Okay. So, like I said, less people are kind of looking at the feed and they're doing more stories, but the stories is almost like a commercial for your feed post where you can get more information. So, and sometimes a good idea is to repurpose a post that did well on your feed in your story. So kind of going either way between your feed and your story, or vice versa. This is a great thing that you can do is if you want to share something from your feed. All right, I'm going to say this slowly. If you want to share a post from your feed to your story, you can click on it here, this little airplane, and then it'll say add post to your story, okay? So then it pulls up, and I'm in the Instagram story. And Lindsay came up with this great idea that says, she put a sticker on it that says tap here. Because if you tap there, that little thing pops up and says see post, which is actually a direct link to the post. How cool is that? I don't know to click on it unless Lindsay put that sticker on there that said tap here. So very clever on her part to promote that particular post. Sometimes people just say new post, lots of things that they're using. And last but not least, something you heard me say earlier, share user-generated content. So lots of the images that we're using, and we're crediting the person down here, is images of people, user-generated content. In fact, this one we even turned into a poll. So different ways that we can utilize shout-outs to our fans. This is Sue B, whose video we did that got reshared. And you can see, like I said, she's got tons of fans. She's an expert in the industry. But these are just some examples.
I'm with the Instagram expert, and I just asked her, what is your favorite scheduling program for Instagram?
Hands down, Planoly makes my life so fucking easy. Oh, can I swear on your thing?
Yes! Yes!
So fucking easy.
So I apologize for the curse word, but she has 77,000 followers, so I went with it, right? But you heard Meredith say Planoly, you've heard me say Planoly, and now you've heard Sue B say Planoly. It is an exceptional program that is $19 a month, and it is well worth every penny.